Go ahead and get started. Thanks for attending today's media availability with Mike Hasen ahead of our game this weekend in Calgary against the Roughnecks. I will start with a couple of questions. I only have two. And then we will go ahead and proceed with Adam. And after that, we'll just kind of play a little follow the leader. I'll be putting in the chat who will follow who after that. So, um, are we recording? Perfect. Okay. All right, Hazer, I'll get us started here. Just curious, looking back at last week's game against Saskatchewan, I mean, on the bench, what's kind of the emotions or maybe even the communication as a game like that is going on, and then obviously the gap is beginning to widen.
Yeah, you know what? It's just one of those ones is we got to keep grinding because again, it's while things may not be going well tonight, we still got to work our way out of it at the end of the day here. And again, every shift matters, and we just got to continually stack up these shifts to get some confidence and get going here, and then see what we can carry moving forward.
You look at the standings, and I mean, you guys are three under 500, but a win or two and puts you back in playoff position. I mean, what have you made of just the I guess the parity, if you will, of the NLL up and down?
Yeah, no, it's this league is this year especially is remarkable because as you said, while we're not feeling the greatest, you look at it and we're still in the mix here. And again, if we could string it, and that's the whole part of this league. If you string a couple, you get a good run, string 2-3 wins, and you're right back into the conversation of being in the middle of the playoff spot, not just making playoffs. So yeah, it's good to see. And again, it's I guess the one good thing about losing a team is that all the teams that are left have become so much closer and so much tighter. And like saying outside of our game last week, there haven't been too many blowouts. It's been 1-2 goal games throughout the league. And we've been in a bunch of them, and we're going to continue the battle to make sure that we're focused, dialed in, and going to battle for entire 60 minutes.
I'll add one more in here. Sorry, Adam. We'll go to you in just a second. Hazer, talking about the upcoming opponent though with Calgary. I mean, this is a team that when we talk about that parity, like they're in front of you. A win is a big win to inch closer to them. But what do you see that has made them as good as they are? I mean, they're third in the league right now.
Yeah, no, they're they're playing well offensively. They're like I say, look at that game against Halifax. They can score at will at times, and then they had a tight one Friday night where they lost by a couple of the Saskatchewan there. So they just like I say they play fast, they play physical. Offense starts from their back end, and you got Dane Dobie, one of the greatest offensive players there, Curtis Dixon, and again King. Cookie there. They play a system so very well that they're going to be hard to handle.
Thanks, Hazer.
No problem.
Adam, we'll give you the floor.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Coach. How you doing?
Not
I'll,
bad,
I'll
Adam.
try my best to be the leader here. Yeah, so my first question for you is, we've talked about goaltending all year long. Hartley's still recovering from that injury. Obviously, he's capable to be in between the net. The first start definitely showed a lot of promise, but save percentage around 74%. This past game, in that low 70 range again. Is the idea that there's still a ton of confidence in him being the number one? Or are you kind of now in a situation where, you're going to be a little bit more flexible in terms of if it's Hutchcraft or Hartley?
Yeah, no, it's we are definitely still flexible here. And you know what? And yeah, Hertz had a really good emotional first start. Second one, they got to him early, and I just don't think he really got his mind refocused. But he's got to work it out, right? Like that's the one thing we're given the opportunity to take over that number one spot. And if you want to be a number one goalie and things aren't going well that one night, you got to make sure you sort of refocus and dial back in and make that next save for us. And yeah, so we're expecting him to make that next save for us at the end of the day here. He's going to get a run. And we're going to see. Just knowing that Hutchie's there, because again, Hutchie's done a great job for us. And you know what, while we were a little slow going to him, but I don't think we were that slow. We have all the confidence in the world in Hutchie at the end of the day that we if he when he's in there, he's going to do a job for us. And we have a bit of a blessing in our mindset, anyways, that we have the potential in hearts and what he is capable of being. And we got a solid guy that's sitting there waiting in the wings that will clean up for us if we need him.
On the other side, Cam McLeod has kind of stepped into a similar role like Hutchcraft had to do, filling in that spot. And he's had some struggles all season long, but he's had some bright spots as well. He and Go Abrams have now had some time. However, they are not one of the best tandems in the league, at least statistically right now. And you guys still are at the top of the list in terms of shots for per game. Now, I know you want to temper expectations about what's possible for the offense when you're going up against goaltenders who haven't necessarily fully proven themselves yet. But when you look at a game of this importance, it must be promising to know that you're going up against goaltenders who maybe aren't on their A game.
Possibly, but you know what? They play a really good system, and again, they're really quick to get on hands. They limit time and space, so we gotta be good there to have those good quality opportunities. I think last week against Saskatchewan, while we had our volume of shots, they weren't the greatest shots. We didn't work to get to the best opportunity for us. We settled a lot, which made it really easy on Frankie there. And if we can't do that, that's not our MO. We're going to take shots, but we're going to work to get the best quality shot that we can possibly can. And that's our focus. Like let's worry about us. And then when we get to the opportunities and at the spots, hit your spot.
And so that you've mentioned that Curtis Dixon and Dane Doby, those are elite talents and they've been scoring at a great rate. But so many of the guys, even, before this season, they always credit Jesse King as the playmaker, the guy that makes that stirs the pot. And, so when you go into a game that with Calgary's offense looking as good as it has this season, how do you make sure that King is limited in the way that he can facilitate the ball?
Yeah, you know what? It's a bit of we got to do two things here. We got to make sure we're limiting time and space and trying to put them in maybe trying to make them play a little bit faster than they want to. Just watching them, and again, we really focus in obviously this week of watching what Calgary does, but they're really methodical and they really set themselves up and then they get going. Right. So we want to try again, limit time and space early, get on hands and make them, not be so comfortable while things are getting set up. And at the same time, we can't gap. Cookie's a big body that's going to go through the middle. Dane Dobie's going to find his soft spots. So we got to make sure our gap control is also there. So, while we want to play tight, it's going to be a couple things. We're going to have to play to the situation and the guys on the floor and be real good at it this week.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Coach.
No problem. Thanks.
Sam, you'll be up then?
Thanks a lot. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good, Sam. How about yourself?
Good. I just have a couple quick ones for you. Facing Saskatchewan last week, and we talked about this a little bit, but they were coming off of a game the night before, and then they get back early in the morning, and took them a little bit to get their footing. But when they got going there, did you think that was kind of a little bit of an advantage for them that they played the night before against you guys? Because ultimately, maybe you didn't have your legs back, after the bye week, and they had played. Or how do you feel that kind of played into things?
Yeah, no, as you said, they were a little bit slow, and again, we had some shots outside early, which kind of got into our mindset that we can play a little bit more outside game. And you know what, give them credit because their energy increased as the game went on. 100% it did, but I thought we settled and we did not bring the energy they did. We didn't match their intensity, and that's choices that we made. That choices this week we can't make. We got to be dialed in, and we have to have that real sense of urgency and desperation. Because again, looking at the standings the way they are, while we're still in the mix here, we got to put a string together. And if we're going to settle and look for easy ways, we're not going to get anywhere.
What do you what is it that you really are looking to build upon this week against Calgary with the style of play that they play based upon your style, and what do you have to do to really to get up early and try to match that through 60 minutes?
Yeah, we want to play. We want to play with a pace that suits us, and that's getting up the floor quick. That's getting off the floor quick, and it's something that we're kind of really trying to push with our offensive guys. And sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. But we want to play getting downhill. We're really trying to stress not having our D guys flip the ball to our O guys coming on the floor in between the restraining lines, because it just sort of slows everything down. We want to play quick. We want to get through the middle. We want to turn bodies, bang bodies, and we want to make it difficult for the D. I think last week we allowed Saskatchewan to step on the floor in a defensive set, kind of get in that fan and just stay in there. They just kind of pass guys along where, we didn't have that energy to move them out of their spots, and made it real easy for them. So we want to make sure that we don't make it easy for these guys here. We want to step and play fast, and we want to continue fast for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Sorry.
Coach, thank you so much.
No problem, Sam. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good, Chamberlain. You're yourself.
Doing pretty good. We're getting ready for this week. First thing I want to kind of add off of Adam. Hart's had a lot of those shots where he was getting fake low, they'd go high, and that was kind of the move early on. Just can you talk a little bit about when you have a young goalie and there's one move that the other team is starting to go with, how you can try to get them out of that slump, or just what you kind of go through in those moments?
Yeah, no, and that's the one thing with Hars, is that he's so athletic, and he's so, like I say, he's really quick, right? Like that, and again, he's getting back to speed of the game here again a little bit, right? And being out since October. And again, while we do stuff in practice, it's not the same as a game situation, right? So, fully game situation anyway. So it's reps, it's getting that comfort level, and again, it's a little bit on him that he's got to make sure he's going through the film. Again, seeing how these guys shoot here as well. Again, we just don't go in there blind. We have a bunch of information that we send our goalies. Excuse me, and we got to understand their tendencies. And I think the biggest thing for him that we tried to stress, excuse me, sorry, that we tried to stress for him is playing a little bit taller. Again, he's a goalie that has got so much quick reaction that he kind of loads himself up, which kind of drops the body a little bit, right? So, yeah, play a little bit taller, see ball, stop ball, because again, he is so quick, and just play with that confidence, because that's what we need him to do. We need him to make the stops that he has to make. And again, there's a couple where we need him to make, and again, SAS played well, and they put us in spots and had a lot of clean looks. But we got to make him. He's got to have the saves he needs to make for us to get that confidence and get going for him and for us.
Yeah. Talking about that Jesse King possibility, I mean, the other thing, as games have gone on this year, it feels like feeders have found an ability to succeed against this team, whether that's Mitch Jones, Joe Resiteritz ended up with 5 goals in that game, which was just a Joe Resiteritz game. But it feels like then Ryan Keenan starts cutting down the numbers a little bit. Zach Mans doesn't necessarily go off in the sense of what his stats usually are at like a 2 and 8. When you go into a game like this, how much do you look at Jesse King's production on an assist level being really a facilitator to Calgary scoring more goals?
Yeah, that's again for most of their possessions. That's where it starts. It's in his stick, and you kind of dictate what's going to happen. And yeah, we just need to make sure that his hands are tied up so those clean looks don't happen. And at the same time, defensively, we got to make sure we're in good positions and we're communicating and like I say, limiting the ability for like. I want to talk about Hayden. Hayden does a very good job of what Saskatchewan does to us is setting those up picks for Curtis to get down the wall and pace to get down the wall type deal. So we got to make sure we're in a position that it makes him ineffective, that doesn't leave the middle of the floor and takes away some time and space from 68 and 17 there, right? So we got to do a good job as a 5-man unit at the end of the day. But at the same time, as to your question, yeah, King is an elite offensive player, and again, he dictates and he finds those guys, and yeah, we want them in his space. We want to make sure he doesn't have that ability to sit there and shop. We want him to get moving and moving in the spot that's more comfortable for us.
Last thing for me, going to the offensive side. My brain goes to one exact moment in that last game, and it's Ryan and T-Mac both on the ground, laid out. Just where can this team maybe find a little bit, not physicality, but I guess respect on the offensive end to take less of those big hits and kind of maybe give it back a little bit more?
Yeah, you know what? That's one thing that we did talk about as well. It's one thing to be in a game like that, but sometimes we got to, muddy the waters a little bit more as well. Now, and sometimes you got to do this outside your character a little bit, but at the same time, we have guys in the back end that push and transition that at the end of the day can do something up there for us as well. And again, at the same time, we're in the game and you get a 5-on-3 advantage. Scoring on the power play also is a way to counteract that sort of stuff, right? And so we just gotta, like I say, pick and choose a little bit. Physicality is one thing that we want to make sure is there in our game, so those liberties don't happen. At the same time, our power play puts the ball in the net; those don't happen either because they got to play us a little more honest, right? So, yeah, we're working on it.
Thanks, Coach.
Ryan, you are up.
Morning, Coach. Thanks for the time this morning. Just wanted to ask you about your offense. Your top 4 scorers, all under 30 years old. A lot less experience when you look at the offense on the other side of the floor. But you do have a couple veterans that carry a couple rings into the dressing room. So can you talk about the internal leadership of guys like Curtis Knight and Ian Lord and what they bring to what is a younger team?
Yeah, no, it's just that confidence and that kind of been there, done that experience that they try to relay that message. One thing about those two guys is their actions on the floor do a lot more than what they do in the dressing room as far as speaking. Nider is a guy that does everything well at a high rate, at a high level, responsible, and he's a guy that we continually point to and just sort of use him as that reference point for our old guys and just being smart lacrosse players at the end of the day. And Lordy is that same way as well. He may not speak very loudly or very very often, but when he does, guys listen. And again, he's doing the job on the floor at is he 36 years old as well here right now? He's 39. Still doing a great job. Yeah, there you go. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I should know that because Coach is about 36, 37. He's a couple years older. Anyways, but he's the guy that's still doing a job on the floor that's effective. And again, it's something that our guys have, obviously we brought him in here for a reason that, we were really young in the back end, needed a little bit more physicality, a little more jam, and he's bringing that and he's teaching those guys lessons along the way type deal as well.
Curtis Knight has more points against the Roughnecks than any other franchise. Now, granted, a lot of that is that he's played more games against them back when he was with Edmonton and Saskatchewan. But in the West. What does he specifically bring to your offense that, from that experience standpoint, that is helping your guys be so successful?
Yeah, he's the guy that puts themselves in the spots to again keep that offense flowing. He gets through the middle, and creates those space to give Lanchberry and Smitty a little bit more time and space to work with as well. And again, he's chipping in with, like I say, a goal, maybe 2 a game type deal for us. Where, like I say, when he gets those opportunities, he's burying them for us. But he's also a guy that reads the play very well. His lacrosse IQ is off the charts. And he helps minimize transition opportunities against, because he is one of the first ones that recognizes and sees and gives off the floor for us. So guys hopefully don't run on us. And against these guys, it's something that we need to be really cognizant of, because again, they push quick from the back end, and we're going to need that responsibility factor to be there. And Under does that every single shift for us.
On your defensive set, obviously you've mentioned Curtis Dixon and Dane Dobie, but they are 1-2 in the league in goals right now. How difficult is it to have to game plan for, it's not just the league leader on the left side, it's the guy in second place on the right side. So how difficult is it to game plan your defense, to have to focus that spread that wide?
Yeah, 100%, because and again, the kind of two different just different style of players as well, that we can't just do the same thing. We got to be really cognizant of both their strengths, and yeah, it's difficult because, like I say, Curtis is sometimes a one-man wrecking crew where he can just get that ball on the stick and put somebody on skates, and he's either going underneath, going topside, and shooting the ball off his back foot, right? Like, he does a lot of different things. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult. And again, it's one of those things that we got to make sure we're in our lanes, we're closing gaps, and we're trying to put them in the spots where they may not want to get to. Dixon's hard because he will go hard underneath. Dobie, on the other hand, is again very smart, and he puts himself and sets himself up in a good spot where you think you got him. He moves his stick one way, and now he's open again, right? So we got to be physical with him as best we possibly can, and again, have a lot of support on the other side of the floor with Dixon, that he doesn't have that free reign to go one-on-one and take over a game for us.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time.
No problem, Robert. Thank you.